it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going diving with my friend Luke, and we're gonna go out on his boat, try and shoot some fish. Don't really know what's around. I know this spot has a bunch of like fantail uhus, which are pretty good. In my opinion, I like eating the fantails and the specks more than I like eating the whiptails, which is the uhu that people shoot most often. And so there's a lot of those out there, and there's moos and omilus and a lot of invasives too, so I'm gonna try and take out a few of those while I'm out there, but hopefully land some other fish. There's a lot of goats up there too, like munus and collies especially, so hopefully we can get lucky, get some of those, and I'll take out some invasives on the way. But yeah, I'm gonna head over to Luke's house right now. We're gonna take his boat out, we're gonna try and get on some fish, and I'll see you guys in the water. Shoots, everybody. Alright guys, so first drop, I saw a bunch of roys hanging around this hole, so I dropped down. This is right before we were about to switch spots, so I'm right by the anchor, but I'm looking in this hole and I see a smaller roy, but I knew there was a big one somewhere in this hole, so I'm kind of just waiting for him to poke his head out, and eventually he does, right there. So I line up, take the shot. And in a previous video, I mentioned how tough roy's skulls are. And you can see there, my spear didn't even go all the way through, even though I was at such close range. And it kind of just shows you like how tough, how thick roy's skulls are, which maybe explains why they're so dumb. But luckily, I got the stone shot on him, so he wasn't going anywhere, even though my barb wasn't engaged. And I got this good sized roy off the reef. These guys are super destructive to our native species, so it's always good to try and take a couple out when you can, especially if you're seeing a lot in the area. That's what I like to do anyway. If it's like one or two in a spot, usually I'll kind of maybe let them go depending on what I'm doing in the moment. But if there's a bunch of them in a spot, like at this spot, I do my best to take out the big ones when I see them. So we switched spots and I found this ditch in the ground, and I saw a bunch of toals going in and out of the hole. So I figured I'd try and take one of the big toals out while I was on the subject of shooting invasives. I see a smaller one come out there, but I noticed there's a big one coming out right behind him, so I lined up on that one. Took the shot. Got him kind of low, but right by the gill plate, so he wasn't going to rip off or anything. So toals are also invasive to Hawaii. It's one of the 3 invasive species that we have here, for those who are maybe watching from somewhere other than Hawaii. So these are another good one to take out. They're not quite as destructive individually as roys, but their population also, similar to roys, has grown really out of control. And toals tend to have less ciguatera as well, so these guys are actually good eating if you choose to eat them. So I saw another big roy from the surface, and I was gonna crawl over to him, but he actually started coming at me. So I see him coming in there, and he actually gets so close to the point where I didn't want to take the shot. So I tried to back myself up a little bit, but I ended up just taking the shot, and I did the opposite of what I wanted to do, which was I hit the rocks behind the roy, which is not ideal, especially when I had both bands loaded. And if you guys remember in my last video, I actually bent my shaft in a previous dive where I was shooting into rocks a bunch. And this isn't a new shaft, it was just an extra one I had lying around, but it's definitely straight, and I don't know, I might have messed it up there, but still got another roy off the reef. This is another pretty big one. So after I shot that Roy, I noticed there was a pile of big moo cruising around the area, and so I decided to take a drop, try my luck, see if I could get a couple. So I drop down and I try and tuck myself behind a bunch of structure, checking for eels there, make sure nothing's gonna come out and grab my arm. And I start scratching and dusting. I'm hidden behind that rock in front of me, and to my right I'm hidden by that tiny ledge. I'm just looking around, seeing if the pile's coming in, trying to adjust myself here. And I look to my right and I notice that the moo are over there and not in front of me. So I kind of pull back, pull my gun underneath that rock and face to my right, so I'm facing the actual pile. And I look up, trying to see if any of them are coming in. And I notice there's one coming straight at me, so I line up on that one, take a lunge, and I take my shot. And I gotta say, I have no idea how this fish stayed on the spear. You'll see in a second, the shot that I got on this fish was the perfect setup for him to rip off. I'm surprised that my spear even got him in the first place. But I'm just bringing him up to the surface, and as you can see there, the spear just went underneath his skin. It didn't even go through his actual body, it just went underneath his skin. And what happened was, when I was looking at it later, the barb was actually facing inward, so it was facing toward the moo's body instead of away, and it got stuck in the meat of the fish, which somehow kept him on. I have no idea. I just got really lucky on this one. I really thought he was gonna rip off, and especially when I was fighting him on the surface because he was still kicking, I thought for sure he was gonna kick once hard out of my hands and then be gone. But somehow he stayed on, and I got the first moo of the day, and he was a pretty big one too. So after I shot that one, he was super curious, so I decided to try my luck, see if I could get another one out of the same pile. So I'm once again hiding in this little divot in the ground behind a bunch of structure, and you can see the pile is all around me. There's so many of them, and I noticed there's a big one that's getting pretty close. So I take a lunge, get a shot, and this one was more normal than the last one, just kind of in the middle of his body, more towards his tail, but more of a holding shot certainly than my first one. Yeah, another good sized moo down, and it honestly felt like the ocean was like rewarding me for shooting the invasives. It was really weird because it was the same exact pile, and moos usually when you shoot into the pile they get pretty scared, but me shooting that first one seemed to have no effect on the curiosity of the pile itself, and I just kept getting lucky over and over. So another nice moo down. So at this point I'm already stoked because that's two big moo, and I love eating moo. A lot of people love eating moo. One of the best tasting fish that we have here in Hawaii. So I was dropping down for the moos again, and there's a white tip that just came by me. Probably smelled the blood and stuff from the other two moos that I shot. He was just coming to check me out, see if I had any food on me. As I'm going up, you can see he crept up on me a little bit there, but super cool to see these little white tips that are really curious. So I figured I'd take one last drop, try and get one more moo, see if I could anyway. Because at this point the moos were starting to get scared after all the drops and shots that I was taking on them. But I figured I'd try one more time, so I get down to the bottom behind this coral head and I start dusting. scratching a little bit, and I'm looking around. I can kind of see the moo pile through the dust, but I'm just looking behind me, averting my eyes, trying to see if they'll come closer. And as you can see, they're creeping up, and there's a big one right there that's coming right at me. But I wanted him to get a little bit closer, so I didn't stare at him. And when I look back, sure enough, he came a little bit closer. So I take a little lunge, line up. Got a nice shot. Did a little reverse unicorn thing on this guy, right behind his head. So the aim got progressively better with the moves. Yeah, this was the biggest move of the day, I think. And this guy might actually be close to my PB or even bigger than my personal best. So I was super stoked at this point. I mean, 3 big moo in 1 dive. I don't think I've ever done that in my life, especially not with moo this size. So I was super excited, super stoked. Couldn't believe my luck on this day. Managed to get 3 really nice size moo. Alright guys, we're back from the dive, and look at the size of these moves. These are definitely the biggest moves I've ever shot. Let me get the 3rd one.
Gotta be illegal.
Freaking massive. Yes, sir. Alright guys, so these are the 2 biggest moo right here. My scale is currently broken, so let me know in the comments what you guys think these 2 weigh, because they're pretty close in size. And if I get the chance, I'll fix my scale and weigh them before I cut them, so I can let you guys know if any of you got it right. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Super stoked on getting those 3 big moos. I don't think I've ever got that many big moo in a dive ever before, so that was super sick. And I think the biggest one that I shot is probably pretty close to my personal best, if not bigger than my personal best. But like I said earlier in the video, my scale is currently broken, so hopefully I can get a weight on them before I cut them up. But yeah, super stoked, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. And as I think we just hit 5,000 subscribers the last time I checked, so I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all the love. And I will be making a 5,000 subscriber special as soon as I possibly can, so stay tuned for that. But that's all I got for you guys today. Shoots, everybody.